Things, faces, friends, places. Years and moments half forgotten. Laughs, fears, songs, tears. Memories are made of this. I remember not so much a time, but certain people. Not us ordinary folk, but people who, by birth, chance, rise above us. You know how they come along. Sometimes from childhood, enthroned in public esteem. Other times, waiting the best part of a lifetime to be properly acclaimed. Here are just a few of them. A few of the powers that were in the 30s. I remember in 1934, the arrival of a king in the harbor of Marseilles. Not a French king, they haven't had one for centuries, but a king of Yugoslavia, where they haven't had one for a much shorter time. This royal guest of France, King Alexander, sat in an open car with the French foreign minister, Monsieur Barthou. And though they weren't to realize it, this was to be their last ride alive on this earth. Slowly, they drive through the welcoming crowds of Marseilles. Then, in seconds, all is violence and fearful confusion. Under the feet of a mob, a man is torn to pieces. A man who had shot at a king and a minister. Alexander is already dead. Barthou lives on for only a few more minutes. A king dies by violence, and his kingdom, like so many in Europe, is destined to survive him by only a few years. And what other monarchs were there in the Balkans during the 30s? King Carol of Rumania, a ruler forced eventually to yield his throne to his son, the boy Prince Michael. And Carol's mother, Queen Marie. What did she think of her son's entanglement with the glamorous Madame Lupescu? King Boris of Bulgaria. Rather dull, really, by modern journalistic standards. Not a breath of scandal. At least nothing that anyone seems able to recall. Further north, in the Netherlands, the House of Orange. Still with us because it lies close to the people. Queen Wilhelmina. In the busy industrial cauldron of Belgium, the king who had seen his country through the greatest war in history, Albert. A king so soon to leave his queen a widow because of a mountain climbing tragedy in 1934. So that then the throne would pass to Leopold, who in his turn was to face another invasion of his homeland. And, unlike his father, surrender to the invader. The slopes of destiny lead not only up, but also down. And who's that at Wimbledon, watching Senorita Alvarez from his own but lost country? Ex-King Alfonso of Spain with his wife Ina. In Italy, the puppet of fascism, Emmanuel, the passionate collector of coins. In the 30s, there were indeed many to sport the purple, the gold, and the plumes. But how many continue to sport them? That's another matter. Assassination, abdication, revolution, the causes of disruption are many. King George of Greece. George had a niece by the name of Marina, and in the 30s, she married Britain's Duke of Kent, a prince to die in the Second World War while serving with the Royal Air Force. Amid the trembling thrones one that endures because somehow it captures the imagination of millions, binding together a commonwealth of nations. And this in a world where thrones count for less and less. Withstanding war, death, abdication, the British crown appears the hardiest of all. But there is another in Europe, older even in tradition than the British, the Kingdom of Denmark, the oldest kingdom in the world. For there's been one unbroken family line for centuries. For royal powers that be, this certainly marks a record.